Hi, I'm Mary Greendale, and welcome to our annual series of interviews of candidates for local offices. The town election is May 24th. We have contests for Select Board, Finance Committee, Planning Board, and School Committee. I am interviewing all these candidates. I have prepared questions specific to each board or committee. Each candidate will respond to the same questions for that office. This allows voters the chance to compare the candidates' approaches and thinking according to the issue. These videos will run a maximum of 25 minutes and will be available on HCAT's website, on HCAT's YouTube channel, on our Facebook page. So let's get started. So our next interview is with Jason Santos, who is on the planning board, so he's running for re-election. So we're doing this one by Zoom due to some COVID concerns, but I am just happy that we were able to pull it together at all. Prior to COVID, we wouldn't have had Zoom, so that's one good thing. Anyway, Jason, welcome.
Hey, Mary, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So let's just jump in because we've got lots of questions. Somehow I ended up with more for the planning board than just, I think, anybody. So just tell us briefly about yourself and we'll go from there.
Sure. Mary, 5 years ago when I ran for the first term, I had a baby boy on the way, and I remember you said, you're going to get very busy very quick. And I've got two sons now, and you are absolutely right. So I had to think long and hard about honestly running again. It is quite a commitment. 5 years, and I'm a civil engineer. I guess I can start there. I'm a licensed civil engineer. I've got some background in environmental work, some background in traffic and acoustical work. So I've had the benefit of getting involved with quite a large array of different subjects with regards to engineering, not by choice. When a client wants something, you just you try to get into it, understand, and provide the best service that you can. So that was in a previous career when I was in the private sector. I now work for the state. I'm director of transportation for an agency, and so obviously I've got a high level of understanding when it comes to traffic and transportation issues and things like that. But again, I honestly had to think long and hard. Am I going to do this another 5 years? And just various conversations with neighbors, with family, and kind of steered me in the direction to run again. And so, I've got the best neighbors that I could ever ask for, and they all kind of pushed me, please run again, and you're doing great, and we will vote for you. We want you in there. So here I am.
All right, so number 2 question was about why did you choose this office? And then the second one was what experience do you bring? I think I'm going to just skip to the experience and just say, have you found your background useful on the planning board, and specifically how?
Yeah, absolutely. You've seen, Mary, there's a number of applicants depending on the size of whatever it is. If it's a large development, there are sound studies, there are traffic studies, there are all of these various studies and things that go along with it. And a lot of times those studies and evaluations, almost every time, they're only as good as what's assumed, what the assumptions are, what the data is, what the input is. And so, just a quick example, you could have a sound study. The current bylaws are, the sound emittance cannot be more than 10 decibels over ambient. That's an interesting word, ambient, because that is usually taken in a 1-week time frame. And the reason that's interesting is it's up to the applicant to choose that 1 week. And sometimes that may be, when the house next door is getting a new roof put on, for example. And, there may be a bit louder sound emittance than normal. And so you just have to be in tune with certain things to ask the right questions to try to understand, we really trying to reflect reality here with these studies? Are we missing something? And because at the end of the day, it's the residents in Holliston, they're going to pay for it if you don't try to account for, it's impossible to account for everything, just
Yeah.
impossible, but you got to try as hard as you can to try and account for everything. So yeah, my background is, I think, very well suited for that approach.
So what do you think are the two biggest issues that the planning board will be facing in the next 3 to 5 years, since you've got a 5-year period? And what do you suggest that we do to address those issues?
I would say, as properties in town continue to be scoped for more development, it's going to be tough for the town. I fell in love with Holliston. I grew up right in the Holliston Hopkinton line. I've been coming here since my first memory, going to Fisk's, going to Superette, going to Outpost Farm. So I love the town. I love the agricultural look and feel of the town. I love driving by, seeing an old barn, and people growing flowers and whatever else it is. So the trick is going to be to try to preserve that while also balancing business interests, right? So that will be, and all of those studies and things I mentioned kind of come into that. So that will be the trick, making sure we are doing a sincere cost benefit of what are we getting, what is this business going to do, what are its effects on the town, and what is the town getting, in response as an output from that business. Is it a service for the town, or what is it? And try to consider everything. So yeah, just basically trying to capture everything. The other big thing is traffic. That it doesn't have to be a private development, but traffic is a huge one in town. We have it could be 5 p.m. Downtown is quite busy. People trying to go through town or make their way into Milford. So getting our roads and our traffic right, so that people are comfortable with being on a bike, for example. The whole complete streets idea is super important, in my opinion, so that somebody or a family on a bike, they can go for a bike ride to a local business to get a coffee and breakfast or whatever it is. Maybe they live a little bit further from downtown. It would be wonderful if they could do that. And so just thinking, those are the two main issues I think of, is how to collaborate and make sure that businesses are commensurate with the look and feel of our beautiful town, at the same time trying to blend in traffic, transportation, roadway enhancements into that equation.
Okay, so just a little sidebar question here. I would assume much of that would require some planning board attention to bylaws. Is that one of the routes anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be some of these larger developments. If somebody wants to build something on a larger parcel, maybe we look at what are the streets that are around this parcel, and maybe that's some sort of public benefit could be included in the project. I think there's a lot of ways to do it. I think bylaws are one of them, and taking it on a case-by-case basis, as I just described, is another one.
Okay. So if money were no object, and don't we all wish that were the case, how would you design the perfect planning department for Holliston?
Well, as a technical person, I would absolutely love to have, again, money is no issue. You can have whoever you want. I would love to have an acoustic specialist on staff. I would love to have a traffic planner on staff. Somebody who can run out with it's called an ATM, automatic traffic monitor, a data recorder. Basically, why do we have a traffic jam through town during this particular time, right? From 4:30 to 6:30. Are our traffic lights sequencing the right way? Are they timed the right way? And just somebody who could address all those things quite quickly, and also give feedback to various developments and things like that. I'd love to have some legal staff just permanently in town hall that, are, what are we missing? Some of these, draft decisions and things like that. I think that would be very helpful. The folks in the town hall are doing a phenomenal job, but again, money's not an issue. So why not some more help? And then also an environmental person, I think would be wonderful to have. There's so many environmental concerns with various developments that why not? Why not have somebody who's going to consider the impact to the local aquifers, to water sources, to wetlands and things like that? And that would be their sole focus. So that's how I would build it.
All right. Good thing money's no object.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
So according to state statute, long-range planning is part of the mission and job of the planning board. Do you think that happens now? Is it enough? And is there anything that we need to change?
I think we can always do more. And I think that's true with just about anything that, we're folks in town and all these various boards, awesome people, volunteer positions for as far as the elected ones go. They're doing, I think, a ton of work trying to preserve and make the town, in their own way, as beautiful and wonderful as they know it. And there is long-term planning that goes on, and it may go missed sometimes. And what I mean by that is we're always considering, what is this going to do long term? What is this decision that we're making? We can think of it 1-2 years from now, but what's it going to do long term, 10, 20 years from now? What's Holliston going to look like? And so, the answer to that question is, of course, everybody can do more, but there absolutely is considerations that go on just about every time we make a decision. What is this going to do for our long-term look and feel of the town?
It's too bad that the planning board is one of the committees that seldom, if ever, gets any press attention, or gets to be on TV or anything else like that, where people can really understand what it is that you do. But at any rate, so there seems to be broad consensus right now that Holliston needs to build its business base. And obviously some of that would tie in very closely with what you've been talking about in terms of trying to get an idea of the return on investment for different businesses and practices. So what do you think we can do? What should we do?
Well, I think we've been, well, I wouldn't call it choosy, but I would say, I think it's important to recognize that we do have a beautiful, beautiful town as far as history, culture, and look and feel. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking with friends in the Midwest, and they were saying, we love visiting Boston. We love visiting New England, the history you guys have. And I said, what do you mean? We take it for granted, honestly, because we live here, and we've got homes in beautiful downtown historic areas that they're hundreds of years old, and we take all that stuff for granted, honestly. And so, you get people from around the country come and visit. This is just amazing. These old historic stone walls and these scenic roads and things like that. I'm saying that because, again, I think the trick is getting a business that is appropriate with sustaining our town look and feel will be the trick. And that comes through fully understanding what is the business, what are they doing, what are their hours of operation. We want businesses here. There's absolutely no question. We have, the town wouldn't be our town without our local businesses. But getting to fully understand what exactly are their impacts through sound, through hours of operation, through traffic. That will, in considering all of that, I think will be the trick.
How do we do that?
Well, on my end, it's through asking a ton of questions, and I probably ask way too many questions. If you ask certain people, I don't know if you've seen some of
I have
the recent meeting. So I don't, I go full in and I ask a million questions, and I don't like to a lot of times sit back and think, did I miss something? So I think as far as capturing all of the costs and benefits, it's through asking a lot of really good, thoughtful questions, and don't be afraid to ask, can you explain, what does that mean, and things like that. So, again, my focus is on preserving the town's beauty and the look and feel of a quaint New England town. And I think we've got a lot to offer. We're not far from Boston. We're not far from major interstates. So I think some really solid, good businesses will come our way as growth continues to work its way outside of Boston. And we've seen some. Again, it's just trying to get the right ones to lock themselves into Holliston.
Has the planning board ever considered the possibility of trying to hire someone to recruit businesses as opposed to just waiting?
It's a good question, Mary. I haven't heard that proposal as I sit here right now, but it is a good question. Yeah,
It is what the towns that end up looking the way they want to look like do.
sure.
They create their bylaws and they say, okay, this is the picture of what we want. Now let's go see if we can do that. And we have that new video. I don't know if you've seen the
I saw
video
that.
that
Yep,
Travis had produced,
Yep.
which is intended to make Holliston stand out, you know. So at any rate, don't want to take up all your time here, but given your sphere of influence on the planning board and certainly the kinds of things that you undertake on there, are there any things that the planning board can or should be doing regarding equity and diversity and inclusion and access for all Holliston residents, no matter what? Are there other things we can do?
Yeah, I think there is. And the idea of complete streets comes to mind. And I just love the idea of being able to go with your family or friends or neighbors for a walk, a ride down to a local business. So there is improving accessibility. You know, perhaps if somebody is confined to a wheelchair, wouldn't have to get into a vehicle and go and visit a local business every single time. If we had, you know, some more sidewalks and things like that, some more bike lanes, you know, families maybe felt more comfortable, or just individual cyclists who like to ride, to commute, ride down to downtown to get something from the superette or you know, somewhere else downtown, or hop on the bike trail. So as far as accessibility goes, I think that would be phenomenal if we could, you know, little by little, try to incorporate the complete streets model and provide increased accessibility for everybody.
What about zoning bylaws that would do things to increase density and that kind of thing? Are those ever topics of discussion to improve or expand the housing possibilities for people who are, you know, perhaps not as affluent as some of the people in Holliston?
Yeah, it's been discussed. I'm totally open to exploring all bylaws, Mary. I just, you know, I want to make sure that, like with everything, you consider a cost benefit of you know, what does that do? And it doesn't have to be an increase in population density. It could be absolutely anything. What is it going to do to the look and feel of the town? What do town folks, what are we hearing from the general population? Do they want it? Do they not want it? Trying to consider all of those things. But yeah, I'm completely open to learning more and hearing about various bylaws of that nature.
All right, well, we've come to the point where you get to do the 2-minute pitch for yourself. So take it away, Jason.
I think this whole thing was a 2-minute pitch, Mary, but you know, I like I said, I had to think long and hard. The board members themselves are, I feel, you know, after you get to work with somebody for so long, you get to know them.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, these people are all friends of mine, honestly, and they're wonderful, good-hearted people. If they weren't board members, I wouldn't feel so strongly that, all right, I'm giving this another go for another term. So, you know, they're all awesome people volunteering their time to try and do what they can to make the town, you know, preserve a beautiful town in their own way. And so given my background as a civil engineer and the various specialties that I've gotten myself into, I feel like I've got a little, you know, a little corner of that process to fill. You know, when it comes to the technical questions, I'm happy to fill those shoes and ask those questions, and think long and hard about the various things that we're being told by various developers or whoever it is. And like I said, try to make sure that whatever you're thinking about, whatever you can envision for, you know, a certain development, it doesn't detract from the beautiful look and feel of our New England town. That's my goal. And I honestly, I don't want my two sons to grow up in a town that's far different from the town that I got to, you know, enjoy. So that's really the honest truth. So that's why I'm asking for your vote. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jason. And that's a wrap.
Thank you for watching Just Thinking. You've done your homework, so please remember to vote on May 24th. It's important for you, your family, and the community. Thank you.